like I've from that point on, it either built me or ruined me musically in the respect that Slayer, the feeling of listening to Slayer back then was the feeling as the music progressed that I wanted to be in a band that made the fans of that music feel the same way I did about Slayer. And the only way to do that would be to just be as like brutal and I don't know, impeccably expressive. And as an adrenaline freak, I really took to the disgorge thing. I mean, every band that I've been in, I mean, there was waves of like, like metal format, but always closer to heart was something that I always wanted somebody to feel just that, like undying rage and be able to express that in a positive way to keep us out of trouble.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the All Music Matters on That podcast. I'm your host, Brian. And today we'll go special guest and another fellow off the West Coast right there. Welcome our boy, Ed, and I don't pronounce your last name wrong.
Talorda.
Oh, Talorda, okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. And also we give a shout out to Graham Watson because I guess you guys are friends and I don't know if he pulled you out of retirement to say the least. So
yeah. He I guess you guys are working on a project together, and he asked me if I wanted to jump in on some guitar stuff, which I've still yet to really set up, but after I said, yeah, you know what, let's send me some stuff, and then he goes, okay, well, this dude Brian, he does some podcasting and stuff like that. I'm gonna kind of send him your way, and he might hit you up, and here we are. So I mean, I perhaps maybe we will we might even talk about that. I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah. And it might tie with more the backstory about I guess how you became a musician too. But I guess before then, even before Graham had reached out about the project and filled the audience, it's Nocturnal Monarch. I guess how did you and Graham meet? I guess we got good friends on the West Coast.
Okay, so it reaches all the way back, probably in like the early 90s, because when he was in he was Plague Lord. I used to watch his band as a teenager over at we have a venue called the Soma, and it's been around for a very long time. I mean, I think it was like really originally like kind of like a sober, like it was ran by a sober like kind of program, and but then they start, like they also, like as they were growing as a venue, they started bringing in a lot of underground acts. I mean, like, dude, the first time I saw Morbid Angel was at Soma, and that was for the Blessed Are the Sick tour. And I mean, like there were many shows that I've seen there, and I've seen, like I've seen Plague Lord play there. We had other bands, Damnation. I mean, you interviewed David Ballinger, and Laceration had played as well. I mean, there was we had a pretty cool root death metal scene at the time, and I myself I mean, I was kind of like crossing over between like thrash into Sepultura, which was a gateway to Morbid Angel and stuff like that. But I mean, like as some years gone by, things happen. I mean, bands don't stay together. And and as the band that I was in at the time, our thrash moniker was Toxic Race, and then eventually we became Mortis Terror. but then like, like we had intertwining circles because I mean San Diego County's fairly decent size, and so like there were certain promoters, and like we were starting to become of drinking age. And like as we as our circles like re-intertwined, I mean like we would play certain other bar venues and stuff, and like like other venues, and I forget Graham's band at the time. It might have been Pathos or something like that. But I mean, I'll be damned if I don't still have some of the CDs. Like if I had time to like do this, I would have dug through it and found a lot of stuff that I was given throughout the decades. And like we kept in. I mean, like like not that we like kept in touch like buddy, but like we always had a we always had a respect for each other, and especially because of the whole like like death metal thing, and like like there was a like at that first wave of death metal, like and when people like when bands would break up, a lot of these dudes would go into different genres of music. I mean, there was a point in time where it was just like kind of weird, because I mean like I tried to stay like more like I always wanted something more like heavy and like fast. So I stuck with the death metal. Um I don't know. I mean, like like it's just weird the how the musical tastes progress and go, like people go into different things. But I mean, like I mean, after that little stint of that little happening of like, yeah, okay, we had this era, and then we as grown-ups were playing these venues, and like, and then eventually people move out of town, and then once MySpace and Facebook comes in, it comes back full circle, and then we all start to you know like we have this respect for each other, and like we had really good times, and we keep each other as friends, and eventually like with wherever life takes us and stuff. I mean, like it was really cool to see Graham still doing the grind, still loving the music. I mean, even David, I mean, I guess he's doing some other stuff now. I mean, that I mean I've still yet to hear some stuff. But as for as for as for that, I mean, like I'm just glad to see my buddies are still whatever they're going through, if they're going through stuff, and then like like overcoming all that. you know yeah.
That's good to hear. Actually,
Yeah.
the way I kind of see it is what I do with this project, like that we have right here, Nocturnal Monarch. It's almost like he wants to be Trey Asafoff, and he wants you to be probably Richard Brunel. I think it was the secondary guitarist on. I forget how many albums he was a part of. Or Brunel, I forget how to pronounce it.
Brunel. Yeah, Brunel. He was only he was out after Blessed Are the Sick. So and the videos that I did here of that Nocturnal Monarch, and like I watched it, I was like, dude, this is like to me, it's kind of an immolation worship. It has that feel, yeah. And I mean, like out of any death metal band, to me, I mean, if there's anybody that had remained consistent in their formula, I mean, the first band that would come to mind is going to be Immolation. To me, I mean, like I mean, like, yeah, okay, Niall's still doing the Niall thing and stuff like that, and but I mean, it's just that chaotic dissonance, organized dissonance that Immolation has always done. I mean, I've never heard anything that, I mean, like nobody else does Immolation like Immolation. And then I hear Nocturnal Monarch and I go, this makes me feel like Immolation. And so that kind of it's kind of like the story of my musical life. I mean, of ever since ever since I got into Slayer in like 6th grade, 7th grade or whatever, and like I've from that point on, it either built me or ruined me musically, in the respect that Slayer, the feeling of listening to Slayer back then was the feeling as the music progressed, that I wanted to be in a band that made the fans of that music feel the same way I did about Slayer. And the only way to do that would be to just be as like brutal and I don't know, impeccably expressive. And as an adrenaline freak, I really took to the disgorge thing. I mean, every band that I've been in, I mean, there was waves of like, like metal format, but always closer to heart was something that I always wanted somebody to feel just that, like undying rage, and be able to express that in a positive way to keep us out of trouble.
Quote unquote, keep us out of trouble. But apparently
yeah,
they think of that, you listen to the devil's music, that whole deal.
Oh, so, yeah.
Even though it was a gimmick and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you're young and dumb, like especially like, impressionable, like fourth grader status. I mean, growing up in the 80s and you have a preacher living across the street from you. I mean, you kind of take it to, you try to like test the limits of, yeah, I mean, like call it, just, I mean, like I was a pretty chaotic kid, and like the reflection of the music, like when, how they say when people act out certain things or whatever, and like I wasn't the most positively expressive kid at times around the neighborhood to certain neighbors. I mean, I knew who my friends were and stuff like that, and I was always cool with them, but I always thought it was fun to troll certain neighbors that I didn't like. But I mean, and what better way to do that is than to play the devil's music and to, like just, like bug the hell out of them. But, I mean, eventually it comes down. Eventually when it comes back to like, like the personal self of, like music was my life since I was 10 years old. And yeah, it's so weird how my journey has taken me to where it had, and the things that I do nowadays to keep it close to me, now that I'm not in a band that's touring or that's actually like putting out records. I mean, and that I'm sure we'll get into that a little bit later on into the interview. But yeah, I mean, it's a trip.
Well, you probably got quite a journey here too, so we could probably say this is a Talorda, an unexpected journey. So this case,
yeah. But I, and pardon me for going on some pretty wild tangents off of like the question, but I've kind of already lost where I was on this. So
it's all good though. Actually, it did kind of mix it a little bit of like maybe a little bit of the backstory, especially with fourth grade. It seemed like growing up in the 80s right there with Slayer and all those guys coming out, especially. Have you lived along the West Coast your whole life and kind of dealt with that
have.
Scene?
Yeah, I have. I mean, I was born in Japan. I was a Navy brat in the 70s. My dad was a Vietnam veteran. My brother had introduced me to rock and roll. I mean, and my dad, I mean, with having the sailor friends that he had, they were into rock and roll. Some of them were into rock and roll. My dad listened to fucking Engelbert Humperdinck and and the Rat Pack and shit like that, but like my brother had discovered Kiss and like AC/DC and Sweet and like Rainbow and stuff like that, and and starting that journey, of course I've seen Kiss on TV, and I was just like, wow, like this is cool. And at the I mean, at the ripe young age of like 3 and 4, I was watching them on TV, and like I was like, that's what I want to do. I originally wanted to become a drummer. I wanted to be Peter Criss. I built I built out of pots and pans a drum kit in my backyard, and I kicked the fence for a kick drum, and and stuff like that. It's like my and like when I asked for a drum set, my folks were like, no, it's going to be too loud. So um I mean, like, my brother got a guitar, and so this is gonna go basically going, like, how did I become a musician, right? So my brother got a guitar, and and he just kind of like, we're just chilling. I mean, my brother's 12 years older than me, right? And he goes, okay, he shows me Stairway to Heaven when I'm like 6 or 7 years old, and I play it, I actually get it, and then like, he would go to work, and then I would play his guitar just without asking and stuff, and and he didn't like that very much, kind of thing. But I was, at this time right here, MTV's coming out, watching music videos and Def Leppard and Judas Priest, and just anything that had to do with like guitar, and at the time I didn't know what audio and video syncing were, so I found out that they weren't really playing that shit. But like, eventually, like he was hanging out with some dudes that were about right in between my age and his age, that they were playing guitar, and like, here I am still, like 7 or 8, and I wanted to be like them. In ways that, I mean, dude, I wanted to be grown up. Every kid wants to kind of be grown up, but like, yeah, and I showed, I mean, I wanted to play guitar. I wanted to play guitar better than them. So I obsessed over a lot of stuff. And that's where I started to learn how to pick up a lot of riffs by ear. I mean, of course, I took piano lessons, so I had some kind of musical-ish training, but I didn't learn how to read music. I mean, I just, there's the metal right there. Oh, I'm learning Maiden tunes, and like, we would jam and stuff. And I mean, but prior to this Maiden part, I guess they were learning like Def Leppard, like Photograph, or they were trying, and they couldn't quite get it. And everybody was in school, and whatever, partying and whatever, and I was just, I'm locking myself in my mom's bedroom with this guitar, going, oh shoot, oh okay, and start playing, and eventually, like, my brother, like, I used to have to sneak my brother's guitar out. He'd go to work. I'd grab his guitar. When I put it back, I would put his pick exactly where he had left it, and I could hear him on his motorcycle down the street coming. And I was like, oh shit, I better do this. One time he shut his motorcycle off way up the street and coasted it, so I couldn't hear. And I'm still playing, and he busts through my parents' bedroom and goes, how many times have I, well, before it actually, like, he stops himself, and he's all, where'd you learn that? And I'm like, MTV. He's all, play it again. And then after that, after that, I played it, and then he showed all his friends, he, check it out, dude, look what he learned that you guys have been trying to figure out. And then from there, he left me alone with it, bought me a guitar when I was in 4th grade. I got, my first guitar was a Kramer Focus 3000, and it had a Floyd Rose and all that. It's like Night Ranger was on, and Brad Gillis was doing like flutters and all this other shit. And like, and back then I was really like, I wanted to play leads and shred. And death metal kind of ruined that for me. I mean, yeah, there's leads and shred, but I wasn't like, I wasn't trying to do Yngwie and stuff like that. When I was still doing thrash, I was still trying to be Alex Skolnick, and like whoever else, I mean, Gary Holt, or whoever, I loved their leads and stuff. But once I got into death metal, like, and that was probably around like 91 was like the crossover from Slayer to Sepultura, from Sepultura over into, I mean, like the first album that I heard from Morbid Angel from my good buddy Grover. He was, he busts out with Blessed Are the Sick, and I was like, holy shit. I revert back over to Altars of Madness and Catch Up, and I'm just like, wow, dude. Like, I mean, and all of a sudden, like, joining for the hell of it, I joined marching band. Got rudiments and stuff like that, but then it just kind of carried on into guitar picking because, like, I mean, like, eventually the death metal, syncopated picking along with, like, drum fills and stuff. I mean, it kind of consumed the way that I listened to music and started playing it. And yeah, so I mean, that part of the journey into death metal was, I mean, dear, I think I did about maybe like a good, like, 15 years of that going into Disgorge. Ooh.
That's all to take in there too, especially with all the music. Actually,
Yeah.
the way you're kind of describing the whole thing of your brother was almost like, I don't know if you ever saw the movie Step Brothers. Will Ferrell was in that one, and this whole thing like, "Don't touch my drum set." That whole thing. So
Yeah. But I would never dare put my balls on his guitar.
I'll put my balls on your guitar. So,
No, but yeah,
I'm a bad boy. So
yep.
man. So
All right.
I guess even throughout high school, I don't know what your school life was pretty much like. I don't know if you dropped out, went to college, or anything like that. But I guess the other part of the history and even the bands you've been a part of, even maybe interacting with Graham. I don't know if you guys ever played on stage together or anything like that, or
No,
chatted
we never
before.
have. We never have. I mean, like, I mean, like, on okay, so as our, like, on phase 2 from, like, like phase 1 from me and Graham, like, of, like, knowing who the, like, he's an OG death metal from, like, San Diego death metalhead, like him and David Ballinger, along, like, Plague Lord and Laceration, Apocalypse and Mausoleum, Damnation, Blackness, and then I mean, of course, Disgorge moved in about 91 from Victorville to San Diego. There were some other bands, Cerebral Incubation, and, like, I mean, so there's so many to name, but yet still a handful. But wow, that alone sidetracked me. So my school life, I mean, it was cool. I mean, I was hanging out with the stoners, so, really, I mean, like, so my kid don't hear it. But, I mean, we partied a lot, and I did just enough in school just to be able to pass and graduate a year late. Yeah, but, when you're busy being rebel and not trying to fit in with, like, like, who you classify as the normies in school, and you were just trying to play music, I mean, like, that's where I knew my home was going to be, was somewhere in music. And that's, I wanted that. I wanted to go touring. I wanted to, I wanted to go see the world, and, eventually I got it. But I mean, of course, 12 years later, I mean, like, yeah, I played in bands. The first band that I had started up was probably in 7th grade. And, I mean, the musicianship level on that was, I obsessed a lot in 4th grade. I mean, made with the whole Maiden, Metallica, and Ozzy thing. So I guess that would be my kindergarten band. I don't know. I think we called it Brutal Seizure, like a lyric from a Slayer song or something like that. And then we thought it was cool. I mean, it was fun. It was fun, of course. I mean, like, we went to shows together and tried to be that. My my first my first band, as soon as I broke out of the neighborhood and started going to other parts of town to play with other musicians, the first band that I was in was called Malicious Intent, which not to be confused with the one from Canada, but when we learned of the existence of that, we took the intent out and just put malicious on it, and we played some pretty cool shows. I mean, imagine being eighth grade in that time, opening up shows for like Dark Angel and DRI, and 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 regretfully, I mean, like, we turned down an opportunity to play Death and Pestilence. Uh,
right. Okay, why on God's green earth? Why would you deny that?
Because we weren't we weren't like that heavy. We weren't that deep on the extremity side of things. And it wasn't like, it's like, I mean, I wanted to play with Testament. I wanted to play with Slayer. I wanted to play with Dark Angel. And yet there was this way darker, force that was brewing on the inside that I just didn't quite grasp onto, I mean, like when come 1990, 91 or whatever, when I started hearing like the first Deicide and Morbid Angel and fucking Hypocrisy and Grave and all of our, like, those were my last like real heroes, like, as a youth. And and I wish I was more tape trader, like, like abroad, because that probably would have done a lot for me. I mean, I just didn't know, I mean, I was too busy partying with my friends locally, and we're just trying to get out and, like, play shows at clubs and stuff, and yeah, I mean, yeah. So Malicious Intent. Okay, back to Malicious Intent. So, I did a good maybe 2 or 3 years with them, and then I wanted to get into something heavier. The third band that I had joined was a band called Ominous Desolator, which it ended up being like, C tuning, which was like really heavy, and like, but then it had a pretty cool, like, melodic structure. The singer was more like, I don't know, I guess you'd say progressive, more of like the progressive metal, melody, high voice and stuff like that. And I mean, like, but the riffing was just super heavy. I did about maybe good 2 years of that with some really good friends, and then at the same time, my same friend, I'm gonna be bringing up my friend Grover, because we started going to shows. We eventually started going to shows together a lot. He introduced me to the whole death metal thing, and and he had a lot of friends. He went to a lot of backyard parties, saw a lot of bands, and so eventually, like, he goes, yo, there's, my friend's Toxic Race, they're losing a guitarist. And I was like, oh shit, man, I've never heard of them. They're from way in the South Bay. And so, I mean, like, I learned some stuff from them. And the first time that and I was just jamming with the guitarist and the bassist, and the first time that I had played with the drums, I had no idea where it was going with the drums, because they didn't even have like tape recordings. So the first time I did it, I mean, I was just going by with, like, I was just vibing from the guitar and the bass. As soon as we got with the drummer Sergio, who now plays in like Parasitic. I mean, he's played in a lot of bands. I mean, he he's played with I don't know. I mean, there's a band called Cave Bastard. I mean, they got they kind of fall along the lines of like the Circle with like the cattle decapitation kind of like circle of friends and stuff. And they had a tarot mix their album, which is really cool. But yeah, as soon as we hit that, I mean, I did 12 years with them, like, like probably like 4 years as Toxic Race, and then eventually Mortis Terror, which, like probably 14 years, so another 10 years with Mortis Terror. And this was probably about from 1995, hell, 1994, 95, over, like the time frame for that ended in actually 2004. So yeah, maybe 10, 12 years. I started doing I had started doing like club audio engineering. I was trying to become a recording engineer, but then a good buddy of mine goes, it's easier to get work like in the live field, right? Like, no, I don't know that, but hey, that sounds fun. So on top of being a construction worker, a guitarist for a band that religiously went to practice like 3 or 4 days a week, drove 30 miles right next to the Tijuana border to practice, like for hours on end, all the way to night, to get up at like 4 or 5 in the morning to go do construction work. I mean, that was a pretty good grind. I mean, I was very content for a 23-year-old, a youngster. Yeah. And then so that's basically the road that kind of paved me over to 2003, 2004. I was kind of like, we had no real, like, I don't know, we had no way of that, like no way to break out of being a local band, and I was just like, shit, man, like, I don't know, it's getting old. And amongst like, certain melodramas between friends and stuff like that, when you grow apart and stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
I just want to say what kind of led to the so-called semi-retirement, or did you always? I guess after 2004, did you still play in some bands? And I guess, or you just really
absolutely.
do more production?
So this is Prelude to Disgorge. So 2003, I was still in Mortis Terror. I eventually I got hit up to do sound for Disgorge, who was doing direct support for Incantation at the time. And I'm like, it was all small clubs and stuff, but yeah, I mean, and like, there was a stipulation out of, hey, yo, Incantation actually is gonna, they'll pay you to do their sound if you just want to just do the sound for the tour package. Actually, it was just for Disgorge and Incantation, but I'm like, all right, hell yeah, fuck yeah, man. I mean, I was, I mean, dude, like, album number 2. I can't even think of, yeah. I mean, like, Craig Pillar, Incantation is just, I mean, that's the one that really gets me. Just, that's like that. If like, if Craig Pillar could be an Incantation now, I mean, but Disma's sick. I mean, everything that Craig Pillar is on is always really like dark and evil sounding. But anyway, so yeah, I had done that tour, and when we actually came to San Diego, my band, Mortis Terror, we were the local support for the tour. So I get to do sound, and then I mean, I've got the board set up for us, and somebody else has to run, just run faders for me. And then after that, I do my gig for Disgorge and then Incantation, and that was cool. And towards the end of that tour, I think it was probably about like a 5-week run. But towards the end of the tour, like, when you have like tour van talks and stuff like that, I joked around. I was like, "Yo, dude, like, fucking, when are you guys gonna get another guitarist? And then like, and there was eyebrows raised and like, grins happening and stuff. And then they're just like, oh, I don't know, we'll just leave it at that. At that time, that was when I was that at that time that's when I was like actually making my exit out of Mortis Terror. And I at that time I didn't really know what I wanted to do. Like it after all that ended, about maybe 3 or 4 months later, come about, I think it happened like November, December, January, February, March. Okay, so I get in touch with Diego Sanchez, and he's like, hey man, like, what do you think about Enrique, the drummer who sings for Suffocation now? It's like, what do you think about playing, jamming some tunes with us, man? Like, and going on tour, man. Like we might, I think we might want to beef up our string section. And I'm all like, if I can do it, if I can nail it, because like I'm just like, like it's really busy stuff, especially at the time. So I took the easiest tune. Actually, I took the hardest tune, what I felt was the hardest tune, and then I took the easiest tune and learned those two. And it took me maybe a couple weeks to get those tunes down, which was a little bit surprising to myself. And after I had jammed it with them, and then they were just hit me up, hey man, well, I don't know, you think you could learn, you think you could learn a set, because come June we're going to be going on tour with Suffocation. And I was all like, this was the 2004, like the self-title Suffocation. Mike Smith is back, and they got Guy Marchais in there, and Frank was still in there, and I'm just like, fuck, man, if I don't do this, this is going to be the one thing I regret in my life if I don't do this, because it's not going to happen. So I went and done learned their set, all but like maybe 2 songs. And then when we hit the road, we just shorted those 2 songs out. And, like when the other bands were on stage, I just locked myself in the dressing room, and I had a fucking CD Walkman, having to rewind and then play, and without an amp, and and just kind of chilling, and everybody's doing their thing, and I'm just sitting there like, and there was, it was really cool, because there was actually moments where like the party got quiet, and I'm like, and I look back, and you get one of your, you get a couple of your heroes talking about, yo dude, that shit is fucking sick, bro, without an amp, what the fuck, so I like doing that. Yeah, dude. So it was, yeah, that tour was pretty monumental in my life, period. And then so going from that into learning the most of the Parallels of Infinite Torture album, and then eventually being able to like write a couple riffs for the last song, because they already had most of it written. That ends up being my only contribution into any Disgorge riffs. Essentially, the band, of course, indefinite hiatus. We did our thing from 2004 to 2006 ish, and we were we were doing tours and stuff, and then we were like, okay, well, we need to start writing soon and stuff. But then at the end of our Mexico tour in 2006 was when our bass player Ben, he was like, he was having problems with his gastrointestinal, and it just ended up like, like the day before we left back over to the States, like to finish up this tour. I'm all, I had a talk. Yeah, I had a talk with him. He shared a couple things with me. He's like, yo, dude, there's something bad just happened, with my guts and stuff. I'm like, dude, you know what, man, you need to see a fucking doctor. So he went through he went through his chemo and stuff, and he just, like, when we found out he was a stage 3, or yeah, I think it was a stage 3 or stage 4. It's like, hey, dude, you got this, man. We'll be here, and I mean, and then kind of at the time, I think our drummer moved back over to Texas, and that was kind of like, the wind blows him away, and here we are still just kind of like, what the fuck, and but then yeah, so while that was going on, Ben had gotten very sick, very, very sick, and like, we had to say bye, of course. And yeah, that was a very like very rough ride. Especially kind of for me, because my father was going through the same exact thing, and he died a month after Ben had passed. So, it was like, okay, well, what the fuck, yeah. Eventually, there was a lot of, grief with the whole music thing. Like Diego, he eventually kind of got tired of, like, missing doing the music thing. So, he hit me up. Hey, man, I got Scott Ellis from Warface, which, if for those that don't know who Warface is, the guitarist Laura Christine, she eventually, I got married to Gene Hoglan, and rest in peace, Jim Durkin. He passed away, so now she's actually sitting in his place. But anyway, at that time we got Scott Ellis, who's a badass fucking drummer. Right, like for Warface, for Death Evocation, and then we started jamming out some of the tunes, and then eventually Diego's younger neighbor, Oscar Ramirez, I think he ended up in pathology at one point in time. So it's kind of cool how like the inner circles, like the intertwining circles come, like, and we got the I don't want to say the original singer from this gorge, but like a lot of people are going to like reference the Cranial Impalement album, because at the time of its release, it was really way ahead of its time, and being more brutal than that of, like, I thought Broken Hope was like had the heaviest guttural of, like, like the 1990s, but like Swamped in Gore, I think, came out in 1991, something like that, maybe 1991, and then Bowels of Repugnance in 92. Cranial Impalement didn't really get released until 1996, but I used to watch this gorge over at the Soma, like, down in the dungeon and the small stage, and I seen them before Maddie got in, and then I seen them again after Maddie got in, and holy shit, like, but anyway, so we, like, Diego and Maddie got together, and it's like, we're like, okay, well, shoot, like, what do we call it? We obviously can't call it Disgorge because we don't own the name, and the only founding member of that is AWOL, so we started playing, it's like, I just kind of joked around about it. I was like, I don't know, man. He's like, what's another name for Disgorge? I don't know, To Violently Vomit or whatever, and he gets a logo drawn up, and it's like, it's kind of weird because I wasn't really like, man, that's kind of a long name, dude. But we started playing it, like Diego wrote everything from Gutted all the way over to Parallels of Infinite Torture with Ben and Ricky, and but like, he wasn't ready to let that die. Like, and also really in good tribute to Ben because they grew up a really good part of their childhoods together. I mean, like I don't know, they were in a band called Strangulation with Travis Ryan from Cattle, and yeah, so this is another part of that, like circle is that was one of the bands that played down over at Soma, and Travis Ryan used to play drums, and Diego's older brother was the vocalist. And then you see a microphone back there, and I'm sitting there going, man, this is like really kind of deicide like type of shit, like deicide, and imagine like deicide and like like effigy of the forgotten type of suffocation stuff, where Joe was just belting out the roar, and then you hear like a Glenn Benton shrill in the background, and it's Travis just you know yeah. So I mean, yeah, so this, the whole Too Violently Vomit thing, it was really weird because like, we played our first show in Hollywood as a 4-piece. No, fuck, man, was it?
5 piece.
No, it was not actually, man, I think it was actually a 4-piece. But our first show I think was in Hollywood, and then our first local show was I think when Oscar came in. A little bit cloudy on that, but I mean, it's almost 20 years ago, mind you. But I mean, like, and eventually there started to come a little bit of a demand of us, like, like doing some stuff, and one of those, like we had a we had an invite to go play the last Mountains of Death festival over in Switzerland. um and wow, yeah, I mean, and I couldn't even I couldn't even tell you. I mean, like, if you were to look up the Mountains of Death festival that Violently Vomit played, along with all the other bands that played, Internal Bleeding, Defeated Sanity, Putridity, fucking, Wormed, and just, I mean, a bunch of others. I mean, like it was probably one of the sickest festivals that I had played. I mean, like they are with the Consume the Forsaken, like, era. They played like Fuck the Commerce and all kinds of, like, they've been to like Brazil and stuff like that. But um the Switzerland gig, and then eventually we were starting to, like, I was talking to some friends from Norway, and they had a festival, like, they had their first festival, the Heart Anger Metal Fest. And at that time that was happening, like, Ricky had resurfaced, and it's like, hey, you want to do this again, and like, we're gonna go through some, label changes, and move from Pavement back over to Unique Leader. I'm like, yeah, yeah, fuck yeah, let's fucking do it. I mean, we were playing Las Vegas Death Fest, so, like, like, Las Vegas Death Fest was pretty amazing. The first one that we played under To Violently Vomit. The second one we were gonna play it again, but then when Ricky stepped in, it brought the Disgorge banner back, and I mean, and sadly, that last run from like 2011 to maybe 2014, I stopped touring in after 2012. But uh the like, it was really all more of a legacy set. Yeah, I mean, we had like one tune that we had written and kind of, like, drafted recording, and I think I don't know if I don't even think it got released. I think we played one show in like 2015 over in San Diego, and it got videoed. But that's the only existence, like, inside of the small stage over at a House of Blues. But that's the only existence of that song that that ever made it out, was that version. I mean, like, I don't think we had like any kind of other, you know thing going on. But it's like, there was a point in time where there was a point in time towards the end of the tour that Ricky had said, "Hey man, I'm gonna try out for Suffo," and I'm like, okay. I mean, I was mad.
Power be to you, man. So
I was mad. I mean, like, I was, I mean, but at the same time, I mean, fucking that suffocation. I'm like, go for it. Go for it, and we'll see what happens. I mean, it's funny because I saw a meme on Growl posters that like it says, like, we're not the same. You hate Ricky Myers because he's not Frank Mullen. I hate Ricky Myers because he kept disgorge on an infinite hiatus. And when I saw that, I was just like, man, I have to respond. I got bitter. I really have bittersweet sentiments to this meme. But I'm really happy for my bros that still do what they do. I mean, Ricky's still grinding with Suffocation. I mean, Diego and Angel, who was the last vocalist for Disgorge, they're doing Cephalotropsy together. Angel steps in to do To Violently Vomit here and there. I mean, like, Diego currently today is keeping the To Violently Vomit thing, and really I think the majority of the reasoning is that I mean, those are his tunes. They were very monumental in the brutal death metal scene, and he wants to keep giving it back to the people that still want to hear it. And then I mean, and on a deeper note, there, I mean, it's like the best. It's the best tribute to his good friend Ben Marlin, and I mean, my brother. I mean, if it wasn't for Ben Marlin, I probably wouldn't have left San Diego to go play. I mean, and it gave me such a good experience, and it also taught me that, man, fucking being in a death metal band, trying to tour and trying to make money. I mean, you really have to have your grind game at home down to be able to do that, and keep on doing that. I mean, because I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, I've been working with Jacob Schmidt from Defeated Sanity. He lives in LA, and he's still, yeah. So he's an audio engineer just like myself. I've been working as his A2 to mic up orchestra instruments and people speaking at podiums to call names of graduates and fucking PhDs and all of that other shit, and it's really cool because, like, when I had a good little talk with him about us doing what we do, and and his perspective. I mean, like, Defeated Sanity for life. Like, if I could do this for a living, I would quit it all. I would quit everything else. But, like, I do what I do because it pays me enough to be able to survive. And that's my bread and butter, so that I can go out on tour and do Defeated Sanity. I mean, and, like, to be, I mean, like, the touring game to me that's a young man's game. I mean, it's a young man's game unless you're like Cannibal Corpse. Yeah.
In which case you got a good amount of years under your belt at that point. So
yeah. So I mean, yeah. So I mean, it's life after Disgorge. I mean, like, I just kind of, because how the wind blows everybody away, right? Ricky got blown over to Suffocation, and I mean, I got blown into Fatherhood and Family Man, which is perfectly fine. I mean, and I mean, like, I was kind of already at a point where, I think I need to concentrate on me, and because every time I went on tour, I always had to play like the overtime catch up game to pay bills, and and at the time, I mean, which wasn't very hard at the time because I was paying $650 for a room from one of my friends. So I mean, being able to keep that part of the rent up was all good, but like when it came to what's Ed's bigger picture here, like where's this going to take me? I mean, I could chase going around the world. I love playing in front of people. I love executing the sickest song, one of the sickest songs ever written, to like just see a pit going off, or like, the roar of, like that comes after. Um, but yeah, I mean, it kind of gets a little bit tiring. Um, so when that bigger picture for Ed came, it was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna try to get good at this audio thing. I think I'm gonna try to chase, recording, mixing, and stuff like that, which I'm still chasing now. But it's just I became an audio engineer, and I've been doing front house and monitor engineers over at like casinos and other venues and stuff. Um, and at this time now, I mean, I put the guitar away. Like to like 2016 was my last show with Disgorge. Um, and I like hanging up on a wall, hanging up on a wall behind me. Well, there's the other one behind the cat tree to above this ear right here. You'll see the headstock, but then there's my ESP. There, I got them both tuned so I could do different projects and stuff like that. But I mean, like, that didn't really start until this year. Like I have some buddies from Paroxysmal Butchering and a couple of other local, like, San Diego bands, like get together, and like they're doing this project called, I think it's called Exeter. Yeah, I don't know if it's Exciter, but I mean, there's no C in it like the old thrash band. But it's a little bit, it's a bit out of spectrum from what I came from. But when it all comes down to it, I mean, it's still metal, it's still fast. I mean, there's some pretty hard patterns and, like picking going on, and that was kind of a reintroduction into kind of going to play again. I've also been going into my DAW work and stuff like that. I'm trying to get my MIDI game up, because I mean, currently I have a couple of projects from this, and this is gonna lead into the question of,
Say maybe gear or COVID or something.
Well, it's gonna skip around a little bit, but like, it's gonna go into like the question about, like, how, about like why, like, like what am I trying to achieve with my YouTube channel, kind of thing. And it, I mean, like, kind of really nothing. My son expressed he wanted to do some streaming and, do some gamer streaming. So it kind of just kind of, it brought me into going, well, shit, man, I'm going to learn how to do that so that I could teach him. But along the way, like, I kind of wanted to set myself up that, like I could actually like, like record some vlogs, tutorial vlogs on certain aspects of like audio mixing, and maybe some other things along the way that I'm learning, like this whole MIDI thing that I'm doing. And I mean, what I do, my strongest suit on the studio thing is the actual mix part. And I'm really starting to learn how to listen to a lot, put music under a microscope, put bass with a guitar, and see how to make them work together instead of fighting each other, along with the kick drum. And if there's like a synth involved, just, like I'm really starting to get a grasp in my own mixing environment, which is actually my bedroom. But now that I got these things here, I got these Odyssey LCDXs, and I really use those to clean up a lot of stuff. Yeah. So are those the 50s?
Actually not sure. Hold on.
ATX 40s or 50s?
Might be. I was gonna say all I know is they do a pretty damn good job. So I'm not real picky about what they are right there.
Yeah. So I got in trouble for these, by the way. When I bought them, my wife was like, "What the fuck are you doing buying fucking $1,000 headphones?" You know, I mean, and there's more expensive ones out there, but I mean, from the general consensus from like a lot of my other audio engineer friends is that these were life changer enough, and then applying any kind of correction to their performance, applying that to the headphones, just makes them even more a better tool. But anyway, yeah. So the whole vlog the whole vlog thing. I mean, like I may do more stuff. I mean, like, you know, I kind of, you know, like along with some Disgorge playthroughs, because I'm still picking up the guitar, and I am playing the Disgorge song, like set as I knew, and then trying to add a little bit, you know, add more to the set that I could probably play a whole set with To Violently Vomit. So I mean, I guess kind of sort of I will probably do playthroughs and mix videos, which the mix videos are going to be kind of like long, extensive, and boring, except for to those that are trying to do the mix thing on, you know, for like records, or, you know, if they're trying to mix their own band, you know, it's like I'd like to think that I could help guide them into what to listen for. And I guess it kind of helps a little bit with like my public speaking skills, and to try to do this and be able to, like, you know, like explain what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. You know, I mean, I think that you know, it's probably not going to be a very I'm not going to do it just for views or whatever, but, you know, like there's people that do appreciate it, and we'll sit there and go, oh shoot, and then maybe they might be able to figure out a riff that they've been trying to figure out on a Disgorge tune or something. I don't know.
Something like that. But
yeah.
All right. Okay. Actually, what will your YouTube channel? Is it kind of just your name right there, or is it a special sort of name?
Disgorge Ed. That's here, let me see.
I guess while you're looking it up, I guess what gear do you have right there? Kind of make the magic happen.
Oh, I'm actually very in the box right now, dude. I don't own any pieces of outboard gear, but you know, I mean, like the like my monitoring system is really just some simple PreSonus Eris 44s, which is like, you know, it's a dual mid and a single tweeter in the center. I mean, they're nothing really great, but I'm very used to them. I made modifications. I sealed up the ports so that they actually resonate a little bit better for my situation. I do have a sub, but my cord's not long enough to go over it. I have a sub tied to it. I have it tuned to where exactly I'm sitting right now. I can gain stage any mix and get it well in the ballpark to be able to go, okay, this is where it's going. And then once I switch over to my monitoring in here, then I can really dissect through the microscope, you know, things that, you know, I could work out things that are like working against each other to help them gel as a full mix. And it's been getting really good throughout the years. I mean, it took me a long time to really be in tune with what I'm listening. I mean, my computer is a Mac Studio I bought last year. It's really just the bottom shelf. it's the bottom shelf Mac Studio, so 32 gig RAM, 512. And then it's got, I mean, the processing is an M5 Max, or no, I'm sorry, M4 Max. Um, and whatever the GPU specs and all that doesn't really matter to me because I'm not really doing anything crazy. I mean, I could probably do some gaming. I can pull a mix and record a screenshot like I've been doing, but my interface is it's a Black Lion Revolution 2x2. It's very simple. So I'll plug my guitar usually into here, and then of course that's where my voice is coming through. And then I got a topping DAC, which is a really inexpensive DAC, but it's gotten a lot of good reviews, like studio wise. It's very clean. And I don't know, I really don't know why I got it, but I mean, the cool thing about it is that I can Bluetooth my phone over to it, and also I have my Xbox light piped into it, so I can listen to it through my studio setup. I haven't really played really much games in a while, but you know, it's there if I ever want to.
Go back to the Xbox 360 days with the Halo and the Gears of War, that sort of stuff.
Oh yeah,
too.
yeah. So. Gears of well, my digs was Gears of Wars, Gears of War, Call of Duty, a lot of Call of Duty. Battlefield really like set in. I mean, it's the original Xbox One, so I mean, like the latest Battlefield won't even play on it because of the video, the video engine or whatever. It's not optimized. I need an Xbox S or an X to be able to play that.
Unfortunately. So,
yeah. So my recording DAW is Cubase 15. I've been on Cubase since 2008, and I've never cross graded into another DAW. I just kept updating it because it was only $100 every time they upgraded, and I just got used to it, man. I use, I'm doing the UAD Sparks plugins, so I got a subscription to do all those cool plugins. I have a couple handpicked from Plugin Alliance, and maybe a couple from Waves, but I'm really just trying to I'm trying to use the least amount of plugins and try to get the maximum amount of like bigness per se. I on everything that I try to mix for people. I mean, I got, most of it's just like bands that are trying to put out an EP and stuff. I mean, I've done mixed some albums for, a couple of my local San Diego, buddies, some black metal, some death metal, some kind of progressive metal throughout the years. And right now, my brother-in-law is actually having me mix his kind of Deftones type of project, but then he's also got some that's a little bit more on the heavier and faster side of things. I've got a punk rock band that I'm going to be kind of sort of producing ish, but I got them laid out. My listening spectrum doesn't just narrow down over to metal. As far as it's like I want to try to, dude, I'll mix a fucking country band and try to make them sound fucking awesome. And that's my least favorite music, really. But if you put me behind a mixing board live, or try to get me to mix it on on a studio side of things, you would never know that I used to really hate country.
I guess I would. So, but I think a lot of people tend to hate the country. Or it's probably more so a metalhead thing. I don't know, but I know it gets a little repetitive after a while. So
yeah, but the cool thing about doing the live audio is that I was able to immerse myself in a lot of different types of music and just throw away the fact that I was just fucking metal, and still do it with a with the delivery in respect that it deserves. So let's see what else as far as playing. So I got the Exeter thing. I need to decide which guitar I'm going to tune over to D to do the Nocturnal Monarch thing. Of course, I kind of need to um I kind of need to. I don't know if you have anything like done as far as I mean, aside from what has already been done.
I have drums. It's just really the one section that, unfortunately, I thought Grant would like it, but I think he wants it almost to the point of being perfect. So it's a little bit of fixing double bass, and
Okay.
in this case, it's more the ride. He said it's more like a waltz, if anything. So that's the holder right there. Plus, I'm being stupid at the same time too, because I've been doing some drum covers recently. I did 2 from Morbid Angels, Altars of Madness with Blasphemy and Chapel of Ghouls.
Nice. We should. I actually I need to get into more little like stay at home projects that I can like like participate in. So I mean I'm sure we can have a talk about that soon. Yeah, I mean, as far as this whole Nocturnal Monarch thing, I mean, like, just, I mean, like, because all I have is like audio recordings, and then I got videos of him playing the songs and stuff. So, what I'm probably gonna do is I'll probably click map some of the guitar stuff, or maybe even pull the audio from the videos and click map that, and then that way I could watch the video and then stay with some kind of a meter until we get until I can get like some drums out and feel some stuff out, because I just need to find a way to get myself a little bit more immersed, and without being able to read like Guitar Pro with a metronome and stuff like that. I mean, it's going to be a little bit more challenging in old school, which is kind of cool, and I know where he's coming from with it, because I mean, he's like I said, he's old school San Diego death metal. So I mean, like I mean, I can't sit there and expect everybody to have Guitar Pro. I mean, I didn't always read tab. It was always interactive, and Disgorge was very interactive. I didn't learn that from tab. I learned it from. I mean, we did write tab, but it was only on parts that I couldn't get like that. I was like, okay, I need to write this down. So, but
it would help. So, yeah. All right, laid up to you. But thanks for sharing there, mate.
Yeah.
Let's start off with the topic of COVID real quick. So, I guess first off, how bad was COVID for you on a personal and family level? And I guess, was there a little spark to maybe get back into the music because of the shutdowns and everything?
COVID, no. For me, COVID was strange for me, because I mean, like, I was doing audio. I was doing audio for a robotics tour, and COVID, the shutdowns happened on like March 13th, and I was sitting and eating breakfast, and when the production manager goes, okay, San Jose's cut out, we can't, like San Jose, like we're down to 0 fucking gatherings, and I'm like, oh man, that sucks for them. And then I was like, oh shit, we're in San Jose. But see, the thing is that I was transitioning from audio production into construction, back into construction, and we were starting to do a lot of installs over at the Sony movie studios, and at that very time, we were considered what the fuck was the word?
Essential worker. That'll do it.
Exactly.
Because I heard a good number of times, so I can understand. But go ahead.
Yeah. We were considered essential workers. So then, it's like all I had to do was just carry a fucking note with me, and then my fucking, I got the damn first jab, and like, and yeah, okay, cool, no drama, but yeah, I mean, like, as far as that, I mean, like, the COVID era was just work and try to just keep the roof over the head. It's like I didn't want to collect the unemployment or whatever, job thing that they had. I didn't, like, it was better for me to just, because I was able to stay busy, and I had not seen a day off. Like, like I've had many fruitful years even throughout the COVID era, so, I'm pretty grateful. I'm pretty grateful for that. And yeah, I mean, the only thing that COVID affected was the audio gig, because those were public events, you know. So I mean, like, I mean, it was I was luckily able to move out of that world into something that was like well under, like out of the radar that COVID had affected. So yeah.
That's good to hear. But it's also good to see that you and the family were safe there too. So
Oh yeah, yeah. We all got it. We all got
that's not
it.
That's not why you all got it. So yeah, that's the same thing with me. So tragically. So
But I mean, yeah, we got through it. So that's cool. I mean,
quite the experience, to say the least.
oh
So
yeah,
seriously, it is good to see you and the family are doing well there too.
yeah,
So,
yeah, totally.
and
Yeah.
I know I'm kind of going backwards, but I am sorry for any losses that did happen throughout the musical
and
career, and I guess even throughout your life there too. So
yeah, yeah. Well, life goes how it goes. I mean, we're all gonna go.
time waits for no slave. So yeah,
yeah. Just make the best of what you got now. So
absolutely.
yeah. All right.
All right.
Let's see.
I guess you want to delve into some fun questions real quick, because I don't know if you ever did any lyrics or anything. So we are running out of time, so that sort of stuff. But,
okay. All right, go ahead.
Okay, we'll start with the fun questions. I guess. No, I'm curious if there's a particular dish I haven't heard about yet, but I guess, do you have a particular favorite food?
Oh, okay. So, really, my favorite foods. Um, Honey, what's my favorite foods? No, she's all pointing at her. No, yeah. So I tend to lean really heavily towards Japanese foods. Like, I eat like restaurant ramen, sushi. I mean, curries and stuff. I mean, I love a lot of Asian food. That's probably going to be the first on my list. If I was stuck eating Japanese food, like if it was sushi and ramen, I'd be totally okay with that. I mean, coming in second would probably be a good, like, good Thai dish, curries, like pad keemao, drunken noodle kind of stuff. And artisan pizza has been artisan, like New York slices, and artisan, like puffy crust, kind of burnt, which the plug comes over. If you're ever in the Redondo Beach area, go to Pizza Lozio. That's the Marco Aromatario from he was in Exhumer, and he also plays bass in Stages of Decomposition. So he owns that restaurant in Redondo Beach. You want some good, like, I'm Filipino and I do that right there, Yep, exactly. I mean, that's definitely a spot to check out if you're ever over in the Southern California, Redondo Beach, LA area kind of thing. So, yeah, food wise, yep.
Mix of Italian, Japanese, so it's a little bit of it. We should say odd mix, but I mean, people have normally done that too, because sushi is actually pretty common in the interviews that I've done over the years.
Yeah,
it's like something Italian and something Asian, but it's mostly sushi, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, well, yeah, sushi. I mean, being from California, I mean, like, well, okay, Mexican food. You know what? Tijuana taco trucks, like, just like the TJ style tacos, is definitely something to be had. Especially if you're out here. My son's tossing me gummy worms.
It's too early for Halloween.
So. Yeah. So I mean, those are So Japanese, Thai, Mexican. Um, I'm pretty open to anything really. I mean, I mean, like nothing to my palate. Nothing speaks American food more than a great burger, fries, and rinsing it down with a fucking swig of Coke. I mean that to me is like the epitomizes the flavor of America. US, I mean, of course, I mean, like, there's ribeye steaks and, whatever. But, I mean, I am.
There's all the good unhealthy food that we pretty much devour on a daily basis.
Exactly. I mean, I do consider myself a foodie. I will try just about anything. But, my leanings are probably always going to go towards Japanese, Thai, and, Italian and Mexican. That would be that would be my big four of foods.
Pun intended. Oh, yeah. Pun intended.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely intended.
All right. Those are great choices. Yeah. I guess in terms of TV, I guess movies and TV show wise, I guess you got a particular favorite between those two categories?
So with movies, I've always loved a really good horror flick, jump scare kind of stuff. I mean, like, of course, like things that like the Exorcist, things like The Exorcist from when we were kids. I mean, I even like The Nun, and there was like, I think there was like the Pope's Exorcist. I really enjoyed that. I've been watching some of the Conjurings, like the other Conjurings and stuff, and I mean, of course, I mean, I also like stupid funny movies too, so I mean, I
do it all to say the least.
I do it all too. A good satire. I mean, grew up on the whole Mel Brooks thing, and I mean, even some of the, well, like as far as like things that are really disturbing, I mean, like Serbian movie Disturbing was a little bit much, but like Irreversible, that was a really impactful flick, that's for sure. As far as if you go into TV shows, I mean, I've been watching Vikings, the first set. I already watched Vikings Valhalla. I dipped back and I watched Vikings from the beginning, and yeah, it was kind of a slow reel in, a lot like Game of Thrones was, and but Game of Thrones is way more magical and mystic and stuff. This is like more like realish scenario. Like there's no, I mean, I think the most magical it gets is the fucking seer, but
well, we get the Vikings of the North, so we get our sort of Norwegian black metal going on right there too. So
yeah, totally. So I mean, I've got So that's been my watches mostly lately, and I mean, whatever kind of PG-13 funny shit that I could bring back and then watch with my kid, just sneak a little bit of that humor in there. I mean, like he gets a good kick out of that. So I mean, some kids movies, I mean, of course, it's just because of certain things that it could, like values that it could teach the kid and stuff like that. So I find myself digging some of that. But when it's my TV, I could go pretty extreme. Yep.
I'd say some of the kids' movies, especially when you grew up in our time with the late 80s and 90s, some Disney and even Don Bluth and all those guys. Good God. It was more traumatizing than it was actually learning a lesson, to be honest.
Yeah. Totally.
So there's one way to traumatize an entire generation right there, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, totally. No, I'm still, I mean, I'm still afraid to let them watch Spaceballs right now. Stuff like that. I was gonna throw on Dodgeball, but I got them. We let them watch Dumb and Dumber, of course. Fast forwarding certain little clips, but I mean, we do have to tell them, you don't ever repeat this in school, okay?
So there's a chance.
Yeah. But they go, I want them to. I want him to enjoy himself. I mean, there's things that are funny that and not everything that's funny is going to be right. But I mean, just don't, just don't think it's funny to repeat to people.
Just don't overthink it, and only
Yeah,
repeat
totally.
it if people know what's going on. So yeah, let them
Yeah,
know.
I don't think I'm ever going to let him watch like the original Little Rascals and shit like that. But
Yeah, probably good thing there. All right, good
yeah,
choices.
yeah,
All right, so I'm going to
yeah.
combine this last one right here. Actually, it would
Go for
actually
it.
be in terms of drinks, and also if you enjoy one, let's say it's like your favorite band or something like that. But I guess first off, who have you been listening to in terms of music wise, regardless of whether independent or like mainstream? And I guess do you enjoy a cold beer or maybe some tea with them?
Well, okay, let's go with the drinks part first. Um, I'm haven't been drinking much lately, but like whenever I do drink, if I end up at a show or whatever, I mean like if there's like kind of a brewery selection, or if we go to a brewery that sells, my wife and I tend to lean towards sour beers. Um, yeah, so I mean like and there's some fruit sours. I don't like them too fruity, but just enough balance between fruit and sour, and some that are just sour that I can enjoy. But then I like other aside from that, I mean I usually will lean more towards like stouts and stuff. I mean like IPAs once in a while, Sculpin grapefruit. I mean, but Sculpin would probably be my choice over on like an IPA or something like that. But I mean like it's um anything aside from that, every once in a while it's kind of cool to get a nice bourbon on the rock and pair it up with a cigar. Chris Pervelis from Internal Bleeding kind of got me into that. But I only do that once in a while. But I mean, yeah, I mean, I could do a little gentleman jack, little sip, sip, and then tie one on slowly. I don't really drink much to get hammered anymore. I think the last time I did that was in like 2012 when I almost drank a whole bottle of fucking Jaeger before we played a show, and they recorded it.
That would be
But
embarrassing.
yeah, I know, because I have the multi tracks and I play it, and I'm going, man, this is what I'm gonna use to play through. When I do my playthrough videos, I'm just gonna mute that guitar and I'm gonna play to this, just to redeem that very night I decided to go and get really fucked up. But yeah, so as far as bands, geez, man, it's so our our genre and subgenres grown so much, so it's really hard to keep. It is really hard to keep
It's like
up.
making a family tree of like all the different metal. So like it started with heavy metal, then it just death metal, thrash metal, black metal, that sort
Yeah,
of stuff. It just kept expanding, to say the least.
yeah. So I mean, when it comes down to that, and um, most of the stuff that I do listen to, like pertaining to metal, I mean, hell, man, like I revert back to a lot of stuff that I used to listen to. I mean, and then I mean, like from anything from like Psychotic Waltz over to I got Blessed Are the Sick on vinyl. I've been picking up vinyls and stuff, so I'll listen to that whenever I throw on Spotify, is because somebody might have been like pumping up somebody's band and stuff, and like I like, and it's probably old ish by now, but I mean like the like two bands that really kind of just stick out for me right now on the brutal death metal thing is Nithing and Stabbing. And wow, you know yeah, so I mean there's so much out there. I mean like I ordered some stuff from P2. I think he's based in New York, and like I think the last like kind of like real favorite thing that I had was like in Thrak and fucking the oh fuck, man, Heretic's Fork. So I mean, which they have to. It's got some pretty like insane. It's kind of old school grindy, but like it's just really like dark and evil sounding. You know, which I mean, I've been kind of like I've been kind of like I've been kind of missing that. So I mean, I think my next ventures in music, like if I'm gonna do some writing, it's I'm gonna go try and go very very dark. I don't know how old school or new school, but I mean, but Nocturnal Monarch should be a really good start.
It's a way to get really familiarized with your dark roots, if we want to say it that way. Or
Yeah,
if we want to say Sepultura, hey, a Sepultura reference. Roots, bloody roots, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, my roots is Arise. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that's, I mean, I don't know. I mean, like like David Vincent had a interview once, and he was like, the thing about death metal is you could play as fast as you want, or you could play as slow as you want, and it's just but it's like more like darker and evil or something along the lines of that, and it kind of really resonates. I mean, like, and me originally not coming from a brutal death metal, like that was an era of mine that like it was the height of my enthusiasm, and the want of playing the most intense shit that I mean, that was gratifying to play, and then it was also gratifying, just as gratifying to execute. And I mean, it was, I mean, it was great, but I wouldn't be able to write a whole album on that. And, like I would probably be better off to like, dial it back a little bit into what I was before that kind of thing. So like I'm still just trying to gather creative juices along the lines with learning how to do my programming on on Slate drums and stuff like that. So I mean, I can play drums. I could play them slow. If I execute it, I just go to a click, and then I can translate it over to the DAW, and then all of a sudden I've got Derek Roddy. And then all I have to do is just make sure all my velocities are like, impeccable, and then maybe slide a couple of flubs in and like without quantizing. And, then I have something to work with, unless I have somebody to reciprocate, like ideas that, that can record, and then we can reciprocate ideas. So, but yeah.
Yep.
So hard not to talk about music.
I know. He's been feeling the jitters ever since we started here too, man. He's been going. And, we actually had a good tangents there too. So I mean, like, it seemed like there was a lot to cover in your story and even your resume too, when you think about it.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Yeah. So cool.
All right. Yeah. We are down to one more question, my podcast. I guess before we jump into it, would you like to ask me a question real quick?
Yeah. I guess what I'm saying is, I mean, do you play in bands and projects? Have you played in lots of bands yourself?
Not really to your extent, to say the least, but it was there's actually another band I'm a part of. It's my own, called Demiurge. It's actually me and a friend of mine out of Texas. I provide the vocals and do drums, and then he does basic guitars. And
have you guys been around for a long time?
Not a long time. It's basically a couple of years. So I have to see if he still wants to, if we can still do our Halloween run, because we've done our last 2 7-track albums and we released them on Halloween.
Okay. So I'm gonna have to check that out. Definitely check that out.
And there's definitely Nocturnal Monarch, which you heard of with Graham there too. So it's really just those two at the moment. Okay.
Cool. Well, I mean, because when I hear your drum take on the video that I saw from Graham's page, I was like, man, like, dude, this is this is really reaching back into a time that I could probably, you know, go into, you know.
But I
You
mentioned
know
it
what I
earlier,
mean?
so if I had to give a shout out again.
Yeah, totally, totally. You know, so I mean, really, I mean, like, I'm actually, I am really looking forward to immersing myself more into the Nocturnal Monarch thing. You know, and I do believe that I will be involved with a couple of more tunes in there, aside from. I mean, like, I don't know if that's considered just straight up released or if that was a demo and then you're gonna redo some stuff or shift some stuff around. But I guess, you know, it's not entirely no hurry, but I do want to get myself immersed into some of this stuff so that I can actually do some reciprocity um, with some ideas, because you know, I mean, like, I think that I think it'll be really good for myself, and you know, to try to help some creative juices flowing for when I move on to some other projects, as well as, I mean, it'll be great to, like, you know, like, circle back into, you know, with Graham from my old stomping grounds, that, you know, like, we could have, this is what we could have written if we had gotten together back then, kind of thing. You know. You know, I mean, it's just, I mean, I mean, like, it's part nostalgia, but then it's also part, you know, like, I feel like I need to be, I need to do some stuff, you know. I mean, and with whatever time that I can afford into it, then you know, I would like to just put something out and, you know, execute and feel it,
Go live
and
again. It'll do.
yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. So
It's got tip going around there too, but that's all right.
yeah,
All right.
okay,
All
yeah,
right. But here's how I'll phrase the last question for you.
all right.
Uh, so given the amount of negativity that you have been seeing going on in the world these days, not sure how much you watch in terms of the news or what you've been seeing on social media, that sort of stuff. These days, people need some sort of hope. So what would be your message of hope for musicians and people out there so that they can move forward with their lives?
Oh gosh, message of hope for me, for musicians out there, like, in this state, in the world of this state.
I mean, it's
Honestly,
California too, so it'd be like it tends to be a good laughing stock for the right wingers. So it's unfortunately for you. It's unfortunate, but
you know,
unfortunately, to every point.
oh my god, um, in the state of how we live now, and, you know, it's like, I was actually talking with my wife briefly about this when we were off over to the fairs, that, you know, I mean, like, I mean, like, okay, so, I mean, like, I was raised to, support whoever's in office. Um, as ridiculous as that might sound, especially in today's day and age, with with all the rage bait, with all the rage baiting, and, like, you know, and then the 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 consequential trolling that people, you know, like, banter. I mean, and it's like, it just goes on and on into some, like, you know, it's like, dude, are we really just fucking, are we just really picking petty arguments to talk shit to each other? You know, it's like, I mean, that, um I mean, so, you know, so, with that support thing, you know, I mean, life, yeah, exactly, babe. You know, I mean, life goes on. I mean, like, you know, keep doing what you're doing, and, like, you know, like, there's certain things. I mean, like, yeah, the best that I can ever say with any president that gets all the shit talked about on him, whether he's blue or red, you know, like, at the end of the day, we're still gonna go to work. We still have a fucking roof to keep over our heads. I mean, like, you know, we still have music. We still have music that needs to be heard or written or played. And, you know, really, I mean, like, to be able to still express, I mean, and whatever your content is, to, I mean, if you feel the need to speak against things, you can go ahead and do it. But, like, you know, I mean, like, at some point in time, I mean, like, our social culture, I do really do believe we need to we need to chill the fuck out. We need to chill the fuck out, dude. Like yes, I was raised to support the president in what he does, and sadly, every single president that I hear get talk shit about, all I can really say is, man, I hope he knows what the fuck he's doing. And that, sometimes like there might be something behind it, but then if there is, don't don't be such a dick. Because like when they don't, but it's like, don't be such a dick, but then like the way the media will fucking like the whole propaganda machine, it's like everybody's really so obsessed. Everybody's really so obsessed at like what's going to be said and all this other stuff, and then after that, the people that actually it's just amazing how like the level of reaction that we get. It's is it really that necessary, or are we just like like it is so hard to explain, but really, like the if there was any kind of thing that I can even just say to somebody that like as a musician moving on into our ages, just keep doing what you're doing, because like at the end of the day, that's what you have. Dude, don't veer your mind off into the red hive or the blue hive. That's just how I feel. And if you do, then more power to you. But like really, like if it how's it going to make a difference when everybody's fucking whining? We still have to work. We still have to work.
Unfortunately,
yeah. If the shit goes down, and we have to do something, we really have to do something about it. The time's going to come. Until then, man, we'll sit there and fucking throwing eggs at each other. It's, yeah. It's really hard, and I don't know who would, like if somebody's watching this and goes, oh man, this fucking guy, I don't give a shit. I'm still gonna fucking do audio for this. I'm still gonna keep clients for my clients. No matter what side that they're on, and I'm just like, okay, whatever, like I like to think that I could take the good out of each side, just like, I don't know, whatever. In religion or whatever, there's a, I feel like there's still a common coexisting harmony that people have got. There's got to be something resonating within everybody of every different belief system, and because we still eat the same, we still shit the same. Yeah. Fucking, like we all still feel the same. Our angers are the same, our happiness, our sadness. Like we all grieve and all that. And I think that the way that a lot of people will express their opinions about the goings on of today, it's almost like they're really choosing petty things about the hill that they stand on, and shout them out, and it's like, I don't know. I'm trying to do a lot better about like kind of just more listening, and because I'll sit there if I get sucked up in it, and this is when I know I gotta just fuck this. When I start to like type in a response, and then I sit there and I get 2 paragraphs in, and I'm like, I don't really care. Why am I in this? And then after that, it's like, okay, I'm fucking dog. I want to fucking mix. I'm gonna fucking, I'm gonna mix, or whatever. I'm gonna enjoy my life. I'm going to do what's better for my bigger picture.
That's for sure.
Yeah, that's about it. Don't know what to say. I don't know what to say to anybody for any kind of advice like that.
I was like, hold it. And then I was like, okay, Spoke like a true prodigy. There we go. It's all good too, but you can definitely tell he's a public speaker. So yeah, you were the spokesperson of your pants. I'll tell you that much. So yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah. I tried not to be. I used to stutter a lot more. I mean, I still go off on lots of tangents that I probably don't need to. I mean, but I mean, my mind is the hamster fucking runs fast in there, and sometimes the thoughts will get so crammed up, but then what's able to filter out of my mouth, whether it's my mouth runs too fast or my mind runs too fast for me to speak, and it's I like I should I'd like to I should take a public speaking class, honestly. But
Yeah, I'll leave it up to you there too. But
uh,
all right. But nonetheless, thank you so much for sharing that, Ed. And we have reached my podcast right here. I guess before we close out, would you like to give a couple shout outs real quick to anybody?
um shout outs. Shout outs, yeah, to my old school homies from way back in the day. From, as I mentioned earlier, like Blackness, Plague Lord, Laceration, Apocalypse, Mausoleum, from all the death metal, right, to everybody in my home death metal scene. I like they I've lived a fucking great life growing up as a musician, all the way up into doing Disgorge and them taking me, out throughout the world. At one point in time, I would think that I'd say I would never quit. I mean, and I haven't. It's not that I haven't quit. It's just because I've been concentrating on me, but now me is starting to go, you know what, man, let's have a little bit of fun doing music again. To my homeboy and one of my best friends, Diego, in the music scene, I mean, he like, all the love and bro that we have, even Ricky and Suffocation, Diego Soria, Broken Hope, Cattle Decapitation, Angel Cephalotropsy. I mean, like that road was very well shared. It's held really deep. Lastly, my wife is sitting next to me. Shout out, babe.
I say you can't forget the wife. That's why I was pointing earlier. I was be like, don't forget her.
Yeah.
Don't be sleep on the couch later. So
shout out to my little guy, Isan.
You named after the guy from Emperor.
Yep, exactly.
Oh,
yes. Yeah, it's a fun. It's kind of a funny little story, but I mean, it ended up being that way. So he don't give a fuck right now. He's playing Roblox probably. No, what's he doing? Okay. Oh, okay. So
he's probably getting ready for bed or something like that. So
yeah, what time is it right now? Okay, so hopefully he becomes a drummer. He's been taking drum lessons and stuff like that. I'm trying to get him chop between hands and feet. And he could play. He's got a good sense of rhythm, and hopefully it carries. But I mean, who you are. Everybody that might watch this that knows me. I mean, if I've interacted on more than just a hello or whatever. I mean, and like sharing roads, James Lee, fucking from Origin, old Origin, Unmerciful. I mean, there's so much out there. Suffocation. What? Yeah, everybody that knows me and that knows we're good. I mean, I got all the love for everybody. It's just hard to. It'd be so hard for me to sit there, and it would take much more time than we've probably already overshot with this interview.
A little bit. It's getting close to an hour and 48 minutes here too. But
yeah.
Lastly, just for the audience sake, what's social media? And I guess is your music out on any streaming platforms at all? I know Discord and all those bands.
Well, okay, so I mean, I'm on Instagram, and that would be Stinky Deuce Tooth, one word, Stinky Deuce Tooth, My YouTube channel is Disgorge Ed. One word. It sounds like disgorged, but it's Disgorge Ed. Um, uh, I got SoundCloud, but I mean, and that's actually where I load up whenever I have a mix. Let's see. I haven't been on there in quite a while, but whenever I load up a mix, it'll end up on SoundCloud after it gets released, of course. And I'm trying to pull up my sign in right now, and boom. 1 second. Yes. So I mean, for any bands that do have that you go and record, or if you end up recording yourself, if there is anything that I can do for like a mix, production wise for you, my profile, trying to look at it. Okay, so soundcloud.com/Edward-Talorda. That would be the HTTP, but it'll say Ed Talorda Focal Center Audio Tech Services. That's where you can get a listen to some of the stuff that I've mixed in the past. Some of them are pretty old. There's going to be some more new stuff uploaded very soon that sound a bunch times better. The latest thing that you'll see on there is a band from Oregon called Abiosis. Definitely kind of an older school brutal death metal that is worth listening to. So that would probably be the epitome of my work as far as where it stands, and I'm even better than that now. So I mean that's kind of pinnacle for myself, but I am definitely getting better. I am willing to work for some people, and I do work with budgets. So that's about it right there. Other than that, what, Facebook? I don't know. I mean,
we did do messengers, so I mean, like, yeah, you're on there too. So on there.
Yeah, but I mean, Facebook I don't really take so seriously, just because of it's turning into clown book. So I mean, but still, the messenger aspect of it, yeah, sure. If you already have me on Facebook, please message me over there, or message me on Instagram, and then we can communicate about some stuff. That's about it.
All right, sounds good. And just real quick, I got to close out like this. So everyone, my guest today was Ed Talorda. He's from San Diego, California, right there. He has been a part of a good number of bands. He also has interacted with a good number of musicians that hopefully the millennials still kind of remember from like the 90s and even up to this point here too. So, but you can hit him on the socials, and I guess any streaming platforms. I know I mentioned SoundCloud. So make sure you go support our brother right out there too. So Ed, thank you again so much again for coming on here, mate. And also, we forgot to give a shout out to Graham. We'll give another shout out to Graham and Deaf Dave there too.
Yes, sir.
So, all right. So Ed, you stay safe, because you know there's one pretty fucked up world out there. Rock on. And lastly, strike a pose for the audience. Stay tuned, yo.
Likely.